Finally, there's a lot of excitement surrounding the next new construction phase at Heritage Park. There are plans to recreate 3 San Diego historic buildings from the 19th century that have been lost. Historic building recreations are rare, and these will look like they're the real deal. They'll blend in with the rest of the Victorian buildings at the park. 3 lots at Heritage Park have sat vacant for more than 40 years. From the start, the plans were to move other threatened historic buildings to the park, but those plans never developed, partially because historic preservationists have learned that keeping and saving historic buildings on their original sites is critical to understanding these historic treasures. When you come to Heritage Park, it feels like you're going through this Victorian historic village.
Well, you are. This is the real stuff. These are all Victorians from the historic 1880s and 1890s. This one here is a Senless Cottage. This is actually one of the more modest buildings here. It's more of kind of a worker housing, but it's an important historic style, and it's part of the whole history of San Diego.
Architect David Marshall and his firm will be part of the recreation process at Heritage Park.
Well, Heritage Park is made up of basically Victorian-style buildings, and Victorian is a broad category, but there's different subcategories. We talked about Victorian vernacular. There's also East Lake or stick style. There's also Queen Anne Victorian. So there's a lot of different substyles, but they all kind of fall into the same period, which is 1870s to the turn of the century when Victorian became passé.
While the style passed from popularity, the fascination with the Victorian era and its variety of architectural styles are still very much alive. That's why the final phase of construction at Heritage Park includes recreating 3 historic local buildings that have been lost.
Well, yeah, the whole process involved in trying to find what new buildings we'd bring to the park that are recreations of missing historic buildings is we started at the History Center archives and photo archives, and in order for us to recreate a building accurately, we have to make sure we have enough information. So it's not enough to have a written description of a building or a sketch. We need to have as many photos as possible.
Out of several contenders, there are 3 buildings in the running. It won't be an easy task to recreate them. In fact, there are already many challenges, but the plans are moving forward.
We want this, when it's completed, the new buildings, the new old buildings, they need to fit so that somebody for the first time arriving here, the whole village looks the same. They can't look new. They need to look the same oldness that these old 100-year-old buildings.
Bill McQuethy from Pacific Hospitality Group operates the inns at Heritage Park. His goal is to replicate the feel of a historic Victorian village. Under Bill's direction and David's architectural expertise, the proposed recreation of the 3 local historic buildings is a rare and exciting project.
Well, this is a site plan of Heritage Park as it exists. We have the main road here and the parking, but we have the 7 historic buildings which are here. But this really shows the large open expanse where we're proposing the recreated buildings.
One of the buildings is of San Diego City founder Alonzo Horton's home. It's beautiful and grand.
And this is very much Queen Anne Victorian style. It had the ridge cresting, it had the brackets under the roof, the turn spindles. Very nice house, very large, kind of up on a bluff here. And we were able to find some good photographs.
Another recreation could be this beautiful home of one of San Diego's prominent residents. It's described as an Italian palazzo, a house built to impress. Hard to believe, but it was destroyed to make room for a parking lot.
This is known as the Putnam Residence, and this was one that was, I believe, on 3rd Avenue. And this is actually a postcard view that we had of it. Very large house. Putnam was an inventor and had a lot of patents, including the metal seal of preserves jars.
But probably the most unique is the 3-story International Hotel, one of the early Victorian hotels built in National City. The ultimate decision on the specific buildings to be recreated has not been finalized, but one thing is certain. Once the recreations are complete, they will blend in with the rest of the historic Victorian village.
It's very unique, and it's really unchanged. I mean, what we see today is the same as what people would have seen in the 1880s, and it has the same feel. I mean, you know when you're in it that you can just feel that history to it.
When it's all said and done, the recreations will appear as though they were built 100 years ago. And that's the goal, to allow San Diegans and out-of-town visitors to enjoy the beautiful, grand, and in many cases, majestic Victorian-era buildings. The renovation and revitalization plan is expected to be completed in the summer of 2011, when the Inns at Heritage Park, a historic Victorian village, opens its doors to the public. The recreation project will be a future project with a completion date not yet determined. Be sure to visit Heritage Park and learn about San Diego's Victorian past.